All right, welcome back to Silent Podcast, where we're anybody but silent, I guess. Here it's me, Chappell. I'm here, and I'm not being silent today because I'm here to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Uh, you might know me from some of our past Silent Podcasts, such as our Never Have I Ever coverage with Sasha Joseph. I've been on some of the Big Brother content, but this is my first time getting to dive deep into some of the Marvel content that we have in front of us. I know we're going to be doing some Marvel television show content here on Silent Podcast, but I'm going to take the driver's seat here and talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. The most recent iteration of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, just dropped recently. It's our latest Marvel movie in the MCU, and I'm ready to talk about it. I've been hearing mixed feelings about it online. And so, what I want to do today is kind of review it, talk about what I felt about the show, but then also kind of, maybe get into some spoiler stuff. And with me, to do this, to dive into this show, is my homie, my frat brother here, Gabe. Gabe, what's up?
What's up, man? This is a beautiful thing here. Now we get
Yeah.
to talk about stuff online, record it.
Mm-hmm.
No more sitting at the food place or whatever, talking, chopping it up online with the Twitters and whatnot. We here,
Yeah.
so I'm excited. Thank you for having me, man.
Of course, Gabe. Yeah, for all the Silent Podcast listeners, Gabe is new here. He's going to join me on this journey, but Gabe is no stranger to these nerdy movie streets. Gabe, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Let's see. Born and raised in Dallas, Texas, aka the
Mhm.
Triple D. Um, let's see. Went to Prairie View A&M University where I met my guy
That's me.
right there.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. I currently work in education, doing college career readiness, helping kids figure out what they want to do with life, either workforce, going to college, or the military. You're gonna do something. So
Hmm.
I'm doing that. I have a lovely miniature schnauzer right here. Her name is
Yeah.
her name is Lo-Fi. What's up?
Okay.
And other than that, man, look, I love Thai food. I love Marvel. I love DC, although they're disappointing, but we're not here to talk about them. Anime, outdoors, beard moisturizing care,
Yeah.
all the things. And I also like to take trips down the lumber aisle at Home Depot.
Okay. Yeah. You like that big lumber. And, so
Yeah.
Gabe here is wearing his Spider-Man shirt and looks like his Spider-Man hat. Gabe, you did get the assignment right. We're talking about Ant-Man today.
Well, see, it was a little play. I don't want to jump too far into it, but people were confusing Ant-Man for Spider-Man in the movie. So I
Yeah.
just felt like, hey, might
Perfect
as
time.
well got the classic, got the meme, and then I don't know, behind me got the Miles Morales. So yeah, Spider-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, same thing.
Same thing.
Gabe, tell us about your history with the Marvel movies. Like I can say for myself, I've been a day one viewer of the Marvel movies. I remember, Iron Man, and I've watched the journey of all these other movies happen. Then the
Yeah,
TV shows started to happen, so I followed them. And
yeah.
I was an Agents of Shield follower even, and I watched the DC stuff too. Yeah, I was in it for a while, and now that we are approaching some of the later phases of the
hmm
MCU, I mean, I think we're up to
hmm
phase 5 now.
Phase
um,
five. Yep.
I feel like the hype and a lot of the energy behind the MCU has died away a little bit. Gabe, is that your experience as well?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think the last few Marvel movies I went to go in theater to see, I kind of walked out like it's cool.
Mhm.
It's good. Like I'm only here because I was here from the beginning.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
no, I'm not gonna give up on you. It's like my relationship with the Dallas Cowboys. It's like I'm here with you because I was here from the beginning. Marvel
Mhm.
movies, they I think they ended up overdoing them. It's oversaturated, I would say.
Mhm.
And I would say it's not only the movies, but the amount of television shows, and then like the agents of shields, Agent Carters of them all. Know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you got a lot to watch and try and place in the timeline, and this person's connected to that and everything. But now it's like Marvel is a money making machine right now, and the fact that they have been kicking DC's ass for the better part of since 2008 when they dropped Iron Man. Hell, even when the X-Men movies were killing DC movies at the time. It was just like, it's they've done it for so long. They know that we put this out, we're gonna make money regardless of how it may come off and be receptive and everything like that, with the exception of maybe Morbius. I don't know. How did you
Yeah.
feel about Morbius?
I mean, I think that's like a Sony crossover. Like, we really can't get into all the legalities here that we do with the Venoms and the
Yeah,
Morbiuses and the Spider-Mans and Spider-Menses. It's just there's so much legal like mumbo jumbo, like tying up all of these Marvel movies and these like these different comic strips in a way that we can't just have them all by one company. They can't just give them to them all at once. It has to be a mess.
it has to be.
And yeah, and I think a large part of the reason why it's kind of put people off is because it's hard to follow a lot of times. Like, you feel like
Yeah, for sure.
if you miss one film, you just you out
You're
of luck.
out. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
I think at one point there was like, I think in the first, like, was it phase 1 through 4, there's like, or 3 is like 22 films.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's 22 films on top of the Loki series,
Mhm.
kind of like bring it into the end of phase 4 into phase 5, WandaVision, all of that. It's like, yo, like, there's a lot of stuff that some people just don't really care to watch. They just want to watch who they are aware of. So the Iron Mans, the Captain Americas, Black Panther, like those major ones, it's like we'll watch it. But Moon Knight, the average person isn't probably going to watch Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So it's just a whole lot to really try and digest and be like, okay, I'm on track.
Did you watch Moon Knight?
I did watch Moon Knight.
I loved Moon Knight. I loved
I,
it so much.
yes, I love the all the different personalities that they brought out from the comics,
Yeah.
and I feel like they played it extremely well.
Mhm.
Extremely well, to the point where I think I was a little confused, like, okay, which is which, like, who is really in control. So yeah, no, Moon Knight was tight. I'm glad that they were able to do um a little limited series with a hero who really wasn't really known about unless you were just a die-hard Marvel in the crates
Yeah,
type
in
of
the trenches.
fan, in the
Yeah.
trenches, dog, in the trenches. So yeah, I think Moon Knight was tight. I think them having Moon Knight was a great way to bring in more kids, because I mean that's what Marvel's is doing, right? They making monies to sell the toys. They're selling the
Yeah.
toys to make the money with the movies.
Pretty much. I mean, if you think about it, phase 4, it gave us Moon Knight. It gave us a ton of the films that we're now dealing with as kind of like our front runners into Marvel, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have Black Widow that was released in 2021, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, and then Black Panther Wakanda Forever, kind of wrapping up phase 4 movies. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, as we were just talking about, you do have Moon Knight on the television series side, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter
Mm-hmm.
Soldier, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, What If, Hawkeye, and then you have Loki, of course, which is a big part of the movie that we're going to talk about today. And so before we get into any spoilers or anything, I just want to let everybody know, thank you for subscribing to Silent Podcast. Remember, you can subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. You can just follow us here on YouTube, or you can follow Silent Podcast on Twitter in order to keep up with all the updates and the things that we're covering here on Silent Podcast. And there's a ton of it. And so get tapped in, make sure you don't miss anything. Now, Gabe, let's talk broad strokes, no spoilers at all, just a
Okay.
general feeling. What did you
General
think
Phil.
about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It's fine.
Um,
It's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
the the acting overall was really good.
hmm
Jonathan Majors did his thing, like
Yes.
like we all knew and expected him to do. He did his thing. The the progress of the movie was decent.
hmm
It was decent. It was decent. What was the runtime for the movie? It was,
About 2 hours, actually. It was very short
yeah.
for a Marvel movie.
it was very short, but the progress of it all was it was decent. It was it kind of moved as you expected a movie kind of like this to move, um, which is to set up the next phase
Yeah.
essentially. Like if you watch Marvel movies, and you probably go back and maybe look at some clips on like YouTube's of maybe your favorite scenes, or you watch YouTube video reviews and stuff like that. And you were like, oh, I didn't catch that. Let me go back and everything. Like, certain movies, like what is meant to be fun filled, action, impactful, and you kind of
Mhm.
know stuff that's just supposed to be like, we're gonna give you a little action, but it's just kind of like. This is a bridge builder. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah.
bridge builder.
True to that.
So hey, so it was just something to get the audience connected and ready for the next big bad. Kind of like how they did um, at the end of what is that, Avengers, and they had the Thanos
Mhm.
post credit and everything with the gauntlet. So I
Right.
think that's what it was with that. Other than that, I mean, shoot, overall, if we're just talking non-spoilery review, my rating, I would give Quantumania a 7.3.
Okay. Okay. Very specific.
I'd give it a 7.3. They passed. Could have done a little better,
Uh-huh.
but for it to get the job done that I guess they wanted it to do, they did it. You passed. You don't have to repeat the class.
Okay, that's fair. I saw Rotten Tomatoes giving it a 48% on the tomato meter, but the audience score was 84%. And so, like, I've been seeing very mixed reviews across the board. But I tend to agree with you on this one. It's fine. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been seeing people call it mid, and I'd say that. You know,
Quantum media.
Quantum Media, you know, that's what we're looking at here. I think there's a lot of mid to the Quantum Mania for sure. Not a lot of
Yeah.
mania, but a lot of mid.
a lot of
Uh,
mid.
but I don't think it's bad, and I think that we've
Yeah, right.
seen Marvel properties done poorly, and I don't think this
Yeah.
was done poorly. I think that this was 2 hours, so it served the purpose that it was supposed to serve, because you could have
Mm-hmm.
made this 3 hours, and we probably all be like, "Oh, it's one of the best movies, blah, blah, blah." But we got 2 hours. That means it wasn't even meant to do all of that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely supposed to be what we got. There was some, refilming of some scenes that I've read about in my research, and so that's pretty cool to think about. But for
Mm-hmm.
the most part, like you said, this is to set you up for more things to come. This is the first movie of Phase 5, and so we will see what happens after this, all in relationship to who we find out is the new big bad, potentially, is Kang the Conqueror. Now, Kang, we first see Kang during the Loki television show, I believe. He pops up there
Mm-hmm.
in a couple of our, in a good moment in the Loki series, I would say. If you haven't seen
Mm-hmm.
Loki, I wouldn't say you have to watch it to understand this, but it does grow, like, give you some more like context for what's going on. But yeah, we get Kane the Conqueror here in this film, played by Jonathan Majors in his basically his role in the MCU, which we all had to kind of know was coming, because I mean everybody who's everybody is like slipping into the MCU in some
Mm-hmm.
shape, form, or fashion. So I was very happy to see him in this role. He's a Dallas, Texas native like yourself, Gabe. How proud of you of Jonathan
Hey,
Majors and his
the city is
rise to
pretty
fame?
the city's pretty dang proud, man.
Yeah.
The city's pretty dang proud. People are like, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah, he's from Dallas." I mean, I believe he went to Duncanville, or he kind of
Mhm.
grew up in Cedar Hill, but then it's just like
He
everybody
everybody
in
cousin. Yeah.
everybody in the Dallas southern sector is claiming that boy Jonathan Majors. They claiming
Right.
him.
And they should be, because I think he did an exceptional job here. Jonathan Majors can do no wrong, really, when it comes to these roles. He's been killing them lately.
Mm-hmm.
And this was no difference. You talked about the acting. I think that you could quibble with some things, but you really can't quibble with Jonathan Majors. I really think that he does what needs to be done every time. He does not miss. And so seeing him in this role, aside from Paul Rudd, who we know is a great actor as well, some other big names, Evangeline Lilly, of course, reprises her role as Hope Van Dyne. We of course get Michelle Pfeiffer is back. We get our Bill Murray cameo as well, which was a wild random guest star we get in the MCU, but that happens in the MCU, right? They love throwing us like random other big name celebrities. But for the most part, it was Ant-Man business as usual. And so for me, I enjoyed it. I know people like to do their rankings of the MCU. So I have to ask you, better or worse than Eternals?
It better.
Okay, better or worse than Thor: Love and Thunder?
Better, because we didn't get to see Gore the God Butcher actually butcher somebody. He did all of his darkness and stuff behind the scenes.
Okay, better or worse than Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
Oh,
See, we
I
got
would
action here.
say
It's tough, right? So
this
that's
one is tough.
yeah, and I think that's my point, is that like people were really like exaggerating their lack of like their disdain for the movie. And I think and a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's the best movie ever. Like, I feel like there's a middle ground here, right? Where it doesn't have to be the next Thor Ragnarok, which I hold as like one of the best Marvel cinematic universe movies that we've had. It doesn't have to be that to be a decent movie, right? It doesn't have to be 3 hours long. It doesn't have to have all the Avengers in it to be like a decent movie. I think it did what needed to be done. Personally, yeah, I probably did like it a little bit more than Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, just because I'm pretty sure I fell asleep in the middle of there somewhere. And I probably like, yeah, if I had to compare it to the fourth phase of Marvel movies, I think it's right along alongside those, Doctor Strange, the latest Spider-Man iteration, Black Widow, like it's not worse than those movies by a long shot, or it is not better than any of those movies by a long shot. It's probably right in that same tier for me. You think so?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is definitely along the lines of like that. Well, you get a 70. You're somewhere between a 68 and a 75 for your grade. And all those movies you asked me to compare it to, that's kind of along where they were at. To answer your question though about if it was better than Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I would say yes. But the reason why I hesitated is because of that one scene with Reed Richards, Baron Mordo, Professor X, all of them. And I was just like that was tight to see. Although John Krasinski's appearance was a little fan service,
I mean, the whole scene was fan service.
The whole scene.
Yeah.
But it was just, it just seems like Marvel kind of lost a little bit of steam going in the back end of phase 4. And now they're still taking that same kind of like into phase 5, but it's only been one movie.
Yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, no, it's right now it's trending.
Yeah, this is a transitional phase for Marvel, and I think so was phase 4. I really think phase 4 was kind of just like that. We had the end game. Now, how do we recover from that, right? Where do we go now that we've done that? And I think you have to rebuild. You have to go find new main players, because you can't have Tony Stark still at the front of everything. You can't continue to do the Captain America saga. I mean, we've got 4 Thor movies at this point. You have to start to introduce some new blood into all of this. And I think that having a couple films where it's kind of like, yeah, they were fine. They did what they needed to do. They introduced the players. That works for now, because now that we know who the big bad is, we can now address what his influence is on the universe, the quantum universe, all the universes, and then how these new players interact with him. And so I think for me, it was just fine. It did what needed to be done. But Gabe, I'm dying to talk about some of the specifics with you. So if you're ready, we can go ahead and get into the spoiler section after this.
Let's do it.
All right, so here we are. Full spoilers on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, Gabe. I wanted more Kang, and here
feel me?
I wanted more Kang, but I get it. Right? Like, you don't have to give us all of Kang. We didn't get all of Thanos when we first saw Thanos. We got bits and
Mm-hmm.
pieces. You kind of have to
Yeah.
breadcrumb us a little bit. Let us know that this person could be the big bad. He's
Mm-hmm.
currently just a bad. And I think even with the way the film ends, not to like jump all around the place, but by the end of the film, we have Paul Rudd's character asking, like, was that it? Basically, like, that was it, right? Everything's
Mm-hmm.
good now, right? Question mark. And we know, as people who follow the comics or people who just know that the MCU has a lot more in store for Jonathan Majors, we know that that can't be it, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
film leaves us with the question is, basically we have Kang the Conqueror, who was trapped in the quantum universe, and he's down there in the quantum realm, and his argument to I guess Ant-Man and Ant-Man's like um like sidekicks in this film, I guess, it's just
Mm-hmm.
that, hey, I need you to let me out of here, because if you don't, something really bad is going to happen. And that is not a great argument, but
Mm-hmm.
it does lead you to question, once they don't let him out, what was he talking about? What could he possibly be saying is coming to get you next? And I think that's what this film does. It uses that moment to say, okay, now we did the Kang thing once. Is
Mm-hmm.
this going to be something that continuously comes back to haunt us? And I think we can both probably say, yeah, that's coming. But did
Yeah.
you like the setup for that, Gabe?
I did like the setup.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the setup because it it brings a whole lot of questions to what the hell is going to happen next.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't know, if this was somebody who just doesn't read the comics, like you said, just average Joe or Jane or whatever, but they've watched the movies, but they don't. That's all they know. It could bring a sense of like, what? So he's a conqueror. He died. I mean, I know you jumping around, but you see the end credit. You see one of the post credits, and it's like, okay, how are they going to defeat? How are they going to do this now? Who is going to be the real Captain America? Like, who
It's
is going to? Where is Iron Man? We need Iron Man. What are we doing? Where are the Valkyries? We need somebody
yeah,
to stop this man. And
right.
yeah, man. No, I think this was a good setup. I think it was a good setup. Like we said, movie decent, but the setup was nice. Um, yeah, man. No, I wanted more Kang. I wanted more Conqueror. I feel like they did this. They did the same thing with like how they did with Kang as they did with Gore the God Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to see a little bit of Kang, not Conquer. Well, I guess like uh, flashes of him when Jane touched the engine and saw his thoughts and everything like that. It was just like, oh, okay, all right. And then during the fight, he blasted him. It was like, all right, that's cool, but you kill him. We see that in almost every Marvel movie. Like, like what you
Yeah.
like. I want you. Like, I feel like somebody should have been left in the quantum realm and or died.
Yeah. Okay. Look, let's get into the plot a little bit because we got a little time. So we
Okay.
have Ant-Man in his third iteration. We have Paul Rudd character being Scott, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Scott Lang. I survived. I basically saved the world with the whole end game situation, right? Because we know that had the Ant-Man not come back, he like everything would have been left the same, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
would everybody would have still been blipped away. But he comes back. We know the events of the end game, and now here he is, kind of in the wake of all of that. He has his daughter back. He's missed a good chunk of her life, but he's got his daughter back. He's got his family back, and it all seems like it's like well right now, right? Cassie, his daughter, is a little bit of a rebel, if you will. And I say rebel like kind of tongue in cheek because there was a big Star Wars vibes going on in this film as well. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
rebellions going on. But she's a rebel and she's decided that she wants to kind of go and map the quantum realm. She wants to send in like a satellite to map the quantum realm so they can track it because half of her family has been trapped down there. And so, her natural
Mm-hmm.
curiosity is kicking in. But her mom is kind of like supportive. She's the Wasp, we know that. But then we also have uh we basically have the original Ant-Man. We have his wife, played by Michelle Pfeiffer in this movie, and she was trapped in the quantum realm for years, for what seemed like years. You know, quantum realm time is very different. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but she basically is telling them, we're not doing this. We're not going into the quantum realm. We don't. I don't want to talk about the quantum realm. It happened, and we never have to go through that again. But it's crazy because Janet here is saying these things to us, but not giving us any
Not
information.
giving us anything at
She's
all.
not
Like,
giving us anything. So all we can do is just say, like, man, it must have been bad down there. But anybody with any level of curiosity would say, Janet, girl, we got to know something. Tell us something.
something. Give us
Yeah.
something.
So that leads us into a chain of events that leads them to getting sucked into the quantum realm and separated from each other. And down here, we find out about someone else who was trapped down here, Kang the Conqueror. Kang, who seemingly has a good past with Janet, who we know is a rebel for whatever situation was going down here in the quantum realm. But then we find out that their good past might have been kind of strained, if you will, because she left them down there. She left the people of the quantum realm down there with a guy named Kang the Conqueror. And she just went back to her old life, like nothing was wrong. And she's just been up there harboring this secret that this murderous, conquering, yeah, like empire toppling, time traveler essentially is just down there in the quantum realm, potentially wreaking havoc. And she leaves her down there, and so now they're down there with him. And the story is basically like, how do they keep this madman from getting out while simultaneously trying to get out themselves? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the film in a nutshell. Obviously, we get the resolution to that, which is they trap him down there again. But Kang's whole argument throughout this film was, you need to let me out, because if you don't, something worse than me is going to happen, and you really want to let me out. They don't. No one can blame them for not doing it. But Gabe, now we have to question, what is next? We see that Kang has the ability to have a bunch of Kangs. We know about the Kang variants. We know about different
Mm-hmm.
variants because of Loki in that series. So again, if you haven't watched that, go check it out. But it seems like Kang alone was somebody who Ant-Man could beat, right? Like Ant-Man overcame Kang the
Mm-hmm.
Conqueror. And so you might look at this like, that doesn't seem that bad. But when
Yeah.
you realize that there's a billion Kangs all over the place, you might say, now this might be a problem. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, because when first of all, you're a conqueror
mhm.
and you get beat by Ant-Man.
It's gotta be tough.
You travel all through the multiverse
Mhm.
fighting. Fighting, warring, my guy. And you get two-pieced and beat up by a guy who's walking down the street doing book readings at
Mhm.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
like like how? But no, man, when that post credit hit and we saw all the Kangs, and not just all the Kangs, we saw uh the Ramatut Kang.
Mhm.
The it was like a Genghis Khan Kang,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it was another Kang I was unaware
There's
of.
a lot of there's a lot of Kangs in the post credit scenes, to the point where there were Kangs in both of them. We got the first post credit scene where we see like the Kangs all coming together and saying, "Okay, what are we gonna do about this?" Because we got one who's out there, kind of in the wilderness. He's gotta go. We gotta get rid of that Kang, but
Hmm.
there's a ton of us. What are we gonna do with this information now that we know what's going on? And then in the second post credit scene, we have the Kang, the I guess I don't know if he's the elder Kang, but we just definitely get a flashback to say like, oh no, Kang's been around here for a very long time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So what do you think is the future of Kang the Conqueror when it comes to, let's just start, like not let's not say large scale Marvel stuff. Let's just talk about
yeah.
when it comes to his relationship with Ant-Man. Do these two people cross paths again?
I feel like they do.
They got to, right?
They have to. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, I feel like that Kang that I guess essentially got killed. I don't think he's fully dead. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
see we didn't see a body.
Yeah.
So I think somehow, some way, he will come back full circle and meet up with Scott in the Pym family.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I think the immediate future for the Council of Kangs, for Kang in general, is pure anarchy.
Yeah.
Because the way that Kang was telling Scott and Janet and everybody else was like, "Yo, you need to let me out because, like you said, something bad, something worse is going to happen." We saw that worse because why
Mhm.
is it that those three Kangs were off to themselves and not in the full arena with everybody else? So there is some kind of hierarchy, there is some kind of governance within all the Kangs, and I think all of that is going to explode. Um, Within the like, probably like the next few movies.
Oh
There's
yeah.
going to be definitely some remnants of each Kang in the next coming movies.
Right. And we got to look at Kang's motivation as well. They ask him basically why he's doing what he's doing. And his thing is like he wants to win. And they're like, well, what does that mean? Like
Mhm,
you want to win, like you just have the urge to conquer things. Because if that's the case, then yeah, he's going to end up going this way at some point. Um,
mhm.
or is there like some bigger thing that he's trying to win against? Is he trying to beat this council of people? Should we even be concerned about this particular Kang, or is this Kang dead and we've moved on to the next Kang? Is this the same Kang that was involved in the Loki stuff?
Yeah.
We don't know because we get so many variants, right? So we kind of
Hmm.
see bits and pieces. These Kangs or possibilities of Kang, if you will, they just keep sprouting up left and right, and they are very excitable, and all of them seem very dangerous. So I could see a world where this becomes a huge problem, and I don't think an army of ants is always going to be around to save us. Uh, Gabe, did what stood out the most about Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror for you? Because for me, I mean, it's the way he delivers his lines. It made me really believe, like, oh, Kang might be trying to he might be trying to help us a little bit. I can kind of
Hmm.
believe him. I also know not to trust him because we already seen what he can do when Janet got her little vision. But at the same
Hmm.
time, it's like he
He
also
must
sounds
be
like he's
doing
making
this
some
for a
sense.
reason. Yeah,
Right, exactly. So what
yeah.
stood out to you?
Definitely Major's performance was brilliant.
Mhm,
And as I was watching him act in this current version of Kang, I thought back to the Loki, He Who Remains Kang, and
mhm.
how exquisite and colorful his his character was back then. Because at that point, I feel like that Loki Kang, the He Who Remains Kang, was so much at peace and full of knowledge that he was blissful in everything. It was like, look, I'm here. Look, I've been through it.
Mhm.
This and he seems like a Kang. He seems like a Kang that has found peace after being uh through the multiverse full of war torn memories and things he's had to do. Um I think Majors in this film though hit it on the nail to where I'm like, well, hold on. Let's see this man out.
Yeah.
Wait. Hanks, y'all sit right here. Can you tell us what you want to talk about? Like, can you tell us what it is that you really saw? Like, I think it's going to I think it's really going to blow up the MCU, but I think it's also going to give a chance for us to see some new heroes, like we were saying earlier. Like, what are you going to do after Endgame? Like, what's next? And so, yeah, I think he would definitely be going to war with some of the young Avengers that we've kind of been seeing through the shows in the
Mhm.
in the movies and whatnot, with Cassie Lang, um, with Kate Bishop,
Yeah.
them. So it's like it's Isaiah Bradley. So he the grandson of the first the black Captain America. And
Mhm.
so it's like, we're seeing that, and then we saw Ironheart and Wakanda Forever. So it's like they are slowly transitioning to where the young Avengers at some point, you're not bringing in these junior level characters for nothing. So I
Right.
think I think I think they are going to be that cast of characters are going to be the next adversary for Kang.
No, that's a good point. Because right now, Ant-Man used to be one of our newest additions to the Avengers, and now he thrown in the game. And
Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man has been in the biggest fights that the Avengers have seen now, and so he's an OG. He's not like the new, like, oh, you're not Captain America. Who are you again? Like
Mm-hmm.
he's running right now, the head of all of these Avengers from my point of view, because he's the longest lasting person. Just I mean, look at everybody else is either gone or retired, and so I think that Ant-Man might have a more active role now that the quantum realm is involved. He was the first one to come in contact with Kang, and like you said, Jonathan Majors did such a good job with Kang that we're going to see much much more of Kang. But Gabe, we had a ton of additions to the cast as well,
Mm-hmm.
because there were so many different characters that we just hadn't seen before on screen. We got Lord Kyler or Kryler, I'm sorry, played by Bill
Krylar, yep.
Murray. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
Krylar, first of all, Bill Murray is damn near 80 years old, and I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, when did
Yeah.
he get so old? Like, I was like, he's 72. Isn't that the guy from Space Jam? Like he's not supposed to be that old. But we also get was it Quaz, played by William Jackson Harper, who I call Cheaty from The Good Place. It was good to see him on there. But there was so many just random new organisms down here fighting this rebel cause against
Mm-hmm.
what I guess is Kang the Conqueror. Speaking of Kang, there was some chemistry, I would say, between Kang and Janet.
I was expecting a little kiss on the rocks
Yeah,
after a
what
hard
happened?
time.
Yeah.
Look, man.
Janet down with the swirl.
I think Janet was down there making some cookies and cream, dog.
Yeah, it
I
seemed
think
like
she
it.
was getting her Klondike bar on,
Blah.
dude.
Oh
I think
no.
so, man. Because yeah, you were right. There was some chemistry and everything, and I mean, but seeing kind of how who Kang was is, I think he was kind of playing into like yeah, we're working together. You're helping me.
Mhm.
I'm helping you. You don't know anything yet, and it's just he kind of building up that intimate rapport and trust with her, and you can obviously see she was there. I mean,
Mhm.
because in the movie, I mean, when when Pym when Pym came down to the quantum realm, they were sitting there talking with Krylar and everything. She was like, she was like, I had needs.
Yeah.
So, she was down there for 30 years. So it was
Right.
just like, I feel like the time she wasn't messing with Krylar or whatever, and she came across a human in the
Mhm.
quantum realm, I mean, I feel like it was like, yo, like time is nothing.
Yeah,
Time
it's
is time is nothing. It's we're here now. So I think they definitely bonded for show down there. Um, but I think with Kang, with us knowing how Kang was, he played into that perfectly because he knew what it was. Because he didn't say I peeped the chemistry too, and I was
mhm.
expecting him to say like once he got his ship and stuff going again, and he stood up, put the palm out. I was thinking he's like, you can come with me, like you can, like we can do this together. But when he said, he was like, I could take you back. It was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
you not worried about her at all. It's just like,
Right.
yo, you help me, so I'll do you a solid. I'll take you back and I'll drop you off, but also enjoy the time that you have when I drop you off because it's gonna be a wrap.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
No, this is a good point. Like I said, I thought the chemistry was there, because basically our story here is that Kang has been exiled, right? He's been sent
Mm-hmm.
away, basically to the quantum realm because they just needed somewhere to put him because he's that bad. This is a bad man, so they put him in the quantum realm. And what does he do down there? He conquers. He does
Conquering.
exactly what Kang is supposed to do. So when the rebels come after him, basically they're trying to build a rebellion against him and his new like empire that he has. Uh, we see that the Langs and Kang are kind of like an impasse, right? He wants them to help get his power core back, and he has Cassie kind of as his prisoner to say, okay, well, if you don't help me, I'm gonna kill Cassie. And this makes it to the point where Scott has to help out. Basically
Like any good
struggling.
father would.
Yeah, like any good father would. And this is definitely the story of, is Scott Lang a good father? Because his entire film is like
Yeah.
he will go above and beyond for Cassie, and it's very clear that that's just who he is at this point in his life. But once they get the power core back together, Kang ends up going back on his deal. He captures Janet. He destroys her ship with Hank on it. And for a second, I'm thinking Kang might get away with this one. Now, we ultimately see that Hank is rescued by his aunts, who through some quantum mania magic have become super hyper intelligent all of a sudden, just through whatever magic
They said
science. Yeah.
it was when they were falling, when they all went into the quantum realm, like the ants had lived a life
Yeah,
like
all the lives of 8.
years or so,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. And they developed
Yeah.
their own tech.
Exactly. So now we got the ants out here and they like, nah, we got you. And so the ants and Hank basically pull up on Kang and join the fight to destroy him or to keep him trapped in the quantum realm. So it really is a bunch of ants. Some would say this is the story of maybe how, people can band together to take out these bigger causes, right? So you have
Mm-hmm.
the Pym/Lang family that is coming together, and they're like, yeah, we might be ants and wasp or whatever the case may be, but we could beat Kang the Conqueror. It's cool because we all put our mind to it. We all come together and join forces to make this happen. Cassie, Scott's daughter, is talking about how you can't just sit by and watch bad things happen to people because
Mm-hmm.
you can see it happening. So it's your duty to do something about it. And so
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's because, like, with all of this collaboration and these shared efforts, you can take down these bigger threats. Now, that being said, Kang kind of got the same formula too, because one Kang they managed to dispatch. But when we see the billions of Kang variants around, if Kang starts to bring in Kang reinforcements, I don't see this ending well for anyone.
No, not at all. Not at all. My thing was in the movie was just like, okay, Janet messed up his engine. She got away.
Mm.
How did he get all of that? The
Mm-hmm.
followers. Like he was one man. Like I want to know like what part of the quantum realm he went to was like, I'm from the future.
And,
Like
and they were like, go on. say more things.
bro, next. Yeah,
Right. Like, have a seat.
like come on, like I just want to know like if one Kang was able to be disengaged by Janet and then come back with a vengeance like he did, and
Mhm.
then came back and was prepared for any type of signal, any type of sign to get out. I was like, yo, one of these was tough.
Mhm.
A whole council.
Right.
It's just I just can't help to be like, yo, what is this multiversal war going to
Mhm.
look like? Like
Yeah.
how like if they're talking about and mind you, this phase is the beginning of the phase that will hopefully usher in Fantastic Four,
Mhm.
X-Men. Know what I'm saying? Two like Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four. Something that
Mhm.
has been tried and failed, tried and failed over the years. And they are able to bring that in. I'm just thinking about all the former actors, actresses that play certain characters, like how will they do it? Like actors that were supposed to play, like that were supposed to play Tony Stark. I don't know, let's
Mhm.
just say like Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Do you see Tom Cruise as a version of Tony Stark?
I hope not.
Yeah.
We are good. We are good
But
over here.
it's just like knowing that the Kangs will essentially be bringing in all of these multiverse, these universes together, colliding, and this is like one essentially one Kang caused all of this.
Mhm.
That's the big picture. I'm just like, yo, like the movie was decent. It was. Jonathan Majors did his thing. Kang could have conquered a little bit more than what he did. Ain't no way a conqueror should be beaten by ants.
No.
But the setup for this was is good.
Yeah.
And that's really what has me stoked about. I mean, this movie, yeah, I will still go back and watch some quotes and watch some clips when they start to come out. And I'm definitely looking at the screen rants of them all and whatnot, just kind of like looking at Easter eggs and when going back and reading up more on like comic lore to see how they tied that in to the movie. But yeah, I think if I think if Marvel can get their footing right again with this, I feel like they can turn Phase 5 and maybe bring it back to the same energy and level of 1 and 2.
Yeah, agreed. Gabe, we haven't really talked about this character, but we do have to highlight that Darren is back.
My guy.
um we have our introduction into Modoc. Modoc, who used to be Darren, who used to
Yeah.
be like the nemesis of Ant-Man, who tried to once kill Cassie when she was a wee lad, a lass, I guess. He's been down there in the quantum realm, and he has been turned into the greatest weapon of all time,
That
Modoc.
boy was looking like an aggressive assault version of a can of spam.
Yeah, he looked like
Like, it was
he looked
not
like an angry thumb, you know.
it.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, this was interesting to me because one, I didn't recognize Darren because they stretched his face so wide to
yeah.
fit this little Modoc thing that Corey Stoll's face, I couldn't even see. Like you had to tell me who it was 5 times. And they did throughout the throughout the movie. They definitely
Mhm.
remind you that it's Darren over and over again. But you had to literally say, "This is Darren," and then show me a flashback for me to understand who it was because I didn't recognize
It's like they took his picture and put it in Microsoft Word and then
him.
just stretched it. Like, and
Yeah,
they said, you know what? We're not going to work on the angles. We're just going to put it, stretch it, pull it,
yeah.
stretch it. But I will say, I did like his character.
Oh yeah.
I did like his character. Of course, the CGI, the graphics of it all. I mean, I feel like they could have done a little better with his face, but they did the best they could do,
Hmm.
and I'm fine with that. But his character, I still liked that. Although he turned into some, violent can of spam,
Yeah.
but he still had a a bit of his humanity still in him
Hmm.
and everything. And so even when they were like, Darren, no, my name's Modoc, mechanized organism designed only for killing. Like, that's me. And it's like,
Modoc.
okay, Darren. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
and so yeah, man, it was cool, seeing him like, oh yeah, I finally get revenge. But then Cassie being the one to talk sense into him, it's like
stop being a dick.
yeah, stop being a dick. Like, you can always stop being a dick. Like, be better.
Yeah,
And so I don't know. I liked his character. I liked him.
yeah. And he did kind of look like a tip with a face on it. Like he did kind of look like a dick, you know. Just a pinch, just like the head, you know what I'm saying? Just a tip. And that was hard for me to watch because they kept reminding me that he was a dick. I was like, whoa, okay, you ain't gotta
Oh,
keep
okay.
saying it.
What are you doing,
Yeah, like,
DMP?
oh my
What's
god,
going
yeah. Like, I
on?
don't need this. Like, also, I don't know if it was just the lighting in the movie theater that I was in, but it took me a minute to realize that was Modoc. Because like I saw the head and I got
Mhm.
it, but then like I had to kind of squint my eyes and turn my head to see, there are little legs hanging from there too. So I
Yeah.
appreciated them calling that out as well because it did take me a minute. Um, and again, if you're familiar with the comics, then you know Modoc. But so that was a fun cameo that they put in here. The MCU is no stranger to doing that, so I'm not shocked that they did it here. But yeah, Modoc was fun. Darren was fun. Cassie was fun. There's a lot of fun being had here, but it does set up such a serious, like level in the I guess phase for
Mhm.
the MCU because we know Kang is here to conquer. We know that we don't have our normal saviors around to save the day. Black Widow is not coming to do that leg spinny thing that she does on people's necks. Yeah, like they're not going to be able to
Oh.
save us. And so what do you think happens next now that the Conqueror is out there, like in a
Mhm.
billion different pieces? We know Loki knows about it, but how
Mhm.
do you think the Conqueror is introduced to the rest of the MCU? Because the Conqueror now has to come across Namor, and we haven't really talked about Namor, but
Yeah, okay.
he too is a villainous kind of character in the comics who has now in the MCU been kind of converted to like this like ally of the Wakandans
Yeah.
from what we can
Yeah.
tell, right? Like he really ain't got no choice because they could beat him up, and so because of that. do you see a world where now without T'Challa, we still have the Black Panther, but we also, like you said, we have Riri as Ironheart. We do have Namor, coming in to basically flood the place. So you are building an army, but is this
Mm-hmm.
army big enough to handle Kang the Conqueror and what he could be moving forward?
No, I'm gonna tell you that. Not Earth Earth 616 heroes,
Mm-hmm.
not a chance. Like
Yeah.
I think this is they will need the Fantastic Four. They will
Mm.
because they would need some galactic space based heroes. Some with super smart. Reed Richards has the smartest brain in the universe, one of the smartest brains, if not the smartest.
I mean, Riri's
And
still there too, you know?
You're right. No, you're right. Riri is still there too. Um, so is Black Panther.
Mhm.
Forgetting her name. This is escaping me.
Shuri.
Shuri, there you go. Shuri's still there. So you got Riri Williams, you got Shuri, but I don't think that's going to be enough because the Avengers as a whole, the heroes we've seen as a whole, have always just scraped by when they've
Mhm.
won. They've always just scraped by. It's never just been a straight up dominating victory.
Mhm.
At least not when it like really truly matters. And I think this is going to bring in um, other heroes. It's going to bring in X-Men.
Yeah.
It's going to bring in Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, maybe we get some Silver Surfer in there.
Ooh, okay.
Hopefully we get some Silver Surfer because with Kane going through the multiverse and everything like that, you got Galactus. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
got the Eternals. They didn't just drop the Eternals movie just to say, okay, well, here goes some, destructive ass, Stonehenge monsters. You know what I'm saying? Coming about the earth.
I
Like
mean, it does
they're
feel
not,
like that.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's just like they're not, I don't feel like they just dropped it just cause. So
Mhm.
I feel like going into phase 5, I feel like we will see a lot more cosmic space-based heroes. Um a lot, I mean, with the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I mean, we're seeing them. Although I think that's going to be the end of that series for them. But you got those guys coming in. So I'm like, yo, this is going to take off. And
Mhm.
mind you, last time we saw Nick Fury, he was up in space. When we
Yeah.
ended when we ended Loki, it was talking about incursions. It was talking about new timelines being developed. You know what I'm saying? At the end of Multiverse of Madness, that ended with uh with an incursion at the end in the post credit scene. You know what I'm saying? Theron's character came in and was like, "Hey, yo, you got to come with me.
Yeah.
You got to come with me." And I know after her character's name is escaping me, but I do know that
Hello?
her character and Doctor Strange, they will have something kind of going on.
Oh, okay, hello. I see you.
Yeah. So it's like, yo, all these jumping of multiverses and things of that nature, space, all of that, like, is going to come, and they're not, and the Avengers aren't going to be able to find all the help that they need just on Earth, not Earth
Yeah.
616.
Not 616. Yeah, Clea Marvel, right? That's her name. The lady who Charlize Theron, she pops up at
Yeah.
the end. Yeah. Um it's a lot going on. Clea's gonna pop up a little bit. So we have a lot of action here. But you made a good point. We have some brilliant minds on the Avengers side with Riri, with potentially Reed Richards, with Shuri and the Wakandans. Like we have some intelligent people on this side. But I mean, a lot of people don't really talk about it. But Kang's superpower is that he's just super smart. Like it's not
Hmm.
that he has these laser things or whatever. Yeah, there's tech involved,
Hmm.
but he's very smart. He is brilliant. He's a genius, a physicist. He has all of these things, like these notches in his belt based on his mental capacity, right? So
Hmm.
we might have Riri, we might have Reed, but we only got one of those, one each, right?
Yeah.
And Reed is a possible. So we really got one in the possible when it comes to that. We got Shuri, who's basically like her and Riri are probably like 1-1 when it comes to, the intelligence thing here, who are super geniuses here. Um, but we're gonna have billions of
Oh
Kangs.
yeah, and you can't
Yeah.
forget. You can't forget. Well, there will be. I believe there will be a Nathaniel Richards sighting.
Yeah, and then see, and that's the thing. If we're getting Nathaniel, then you kind of have to have, the rest of the Fantastic Four. Now, I know that's been heavily speculated, of course, with most things MCU and even like DCEU or whatever. Um, a lot of that stuff is just speculation because we need it. We need it in our
Mm-hmm.
bodies. Like
We
us
do.
fans kind of want those
In
things.
my vein.
Right. But at the same time, they didn't play it in our face before. I remember when they slipped. I remember when they slipped Howard Duck into the end of that one post credit. I remember Adam Warlock showing up. Like, what? We're not gonna talk about it. We're just not gonna talk about it. So for
And
me,
that's another major player that's going to be in this multiversal war.
is
Adam
he?
Warlock.
You know what I'm
I,
saying?
yeah.
But is he? Because they have played in our face before. I feel like I always have to temper my expectations with these shows and movies because I'm like, you could give us everything we want, or you could
Yeah.
leave us dying for more. And I think the leave us dying for more is so heavy when it comes to a franchise that has basically become about making money. Like
Yeah.
it was always about making money, but now it's like, how much of this can we stretch out to make it make sense for us to keep making these forever and keep banking money off of it
Yeah.
from now until the end of time. And right now, at the pace they're going, they definitely have us because everybody tuned in for this one. It's kind of like, oh, well, that was kind of anticlimactic. I would like more. Well, guess what? We got more coming for you because Phase 5 is on the way. Gabe, is there anything in particular you're looking forward to for Phase 5 specifically?
Blade.
Wade.
Blade. I'm looking for.
Blade.
I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Man. Let's see.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love the original. I love the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But the two I'm really interested in seeing is the Marvels,
Mm-hmm.
and more so Captain America: New World Order, because Sam Wilson's Cap, his superpower is humanity.
Yeah.
He ain't got no super soldier
He one of the
serum.
people. Yeah, I'm one of the people.
He for the people. So
Mm-hmm.
just really trying to see how he is going to really navigate really thoroughly, like digging in deep into being the new Captain America, with no powers, no powers at all.
Just vibes.
Just vibes. Just no powers and vibes with high-tech wings. Know what I'm saying? Like that's all he is doing. And I really want to see how his character digs into being like legit the face of Captain America. But then also I want to see if they will pick up with some hints and like little social justice, real life, being a black man in America, being
they're not gonna love that. Yeah.
for America. It's like we all really dig deep into that. We all really do it because for the longest Captain America, if you think of Captain America, you're thinking of Chris Evans. You're thinking of white Captain America. No, I'm saying you're not thinking of the Negro Captain America. Like you're not
hashtag not my captain. My captain black.
Hashtag not my captain. Know what I'm saying?
My captain black. My Lambo blue.
And it's just like number one, with him being the new Captain America, it's like, how is he really going to navigate being the black Captain America in a full feature length movie? Will they even tap into that? It was understandably so to kind of like get you caught in and reeled in with Winter Captain and with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But now in a full length movie, and then continuing on with that, and then knowing that the leader of the Avengers was Captain America,
right?
And so will that role automatically pass to him because he wears the mantle of Captain America, or will it be somebody else that kind of steps up alongside with him? And my thing is with that, now if you do that, some people will take it and twist it. Well, dang, they won't let the black man lead. Black man can't lead.
That's me. I'm saying it. I'm putting on my kufi. I'm going full Dr. Umar. And what about and why he can't?
all
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Why he
that.
can't be? Why he can't be alone? Why he got to share the mantle? What's that about? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
me.
yeah, exactly. Like, what's that about?
Yeah.
Like Will and it's and it's almost something that's like when you see, like, if you see a prominent black character in power or in a
Hmm.
position of power, how will they write the script for him to use that power?
Yeah.
You
I
know what
mean,
I'm
that's a
saying?
good point. That's a good point.
So that's I'm interested in those two movies. And of course, Thunderbolts. Like I definitely want to see Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. I'm looking forward to
Hmm.
actually seeing another Hulk in a film. But yeah, man, nah, those, I mean, Blade, the Marvels, Captain America, New World Order. I'm definitely looking forward to see Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm cool. I will still go see it, but I'm not like I can't wait to let me see the Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
But I do think it's tight that they are wearing their comic book outfits in that movie. So yeah, I'm be looking forward to seeing that one.
Okay, yeah. To your point about Falcon, being the new Captain America, I definitely support that. I did find it kind of interesting how Scott is out here, Scott Lang is out here doing book signings and stuff like that, and Captain America couldn't even get a loan, but whatever. That's neither
You
here nor
feel
there.
me?
My guy couldn't even get a loan, but whatever. It tells
Can't get
those time.
along.
We've been
And
black
you know
our
what?
whole lives.
That even brings up a question. What's the Avenger salary?
Right, right. Because I feel like some people getting paid. Like as far as I'm concerned, I'm living wherever the money at. So wherever Tony Stark be at, that's where I would be at. But that's me.
I feel like as an Avenger, your salary should at least be 200K minimum.
At least,
At
like
least
just
200K
starting.
minimum.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
depending on rank and everything like that.
With benefits, obviously, yeah. Like you're gonna need dental, you're gonna need vision for sure,
All of
and
that.
the vision, you're gonna need all that stuff. Uh, and that makes sense, Gabe. We have phase 5 unrolling soon in
Mhm.
front of us. This was the start of it, but you've mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy volume 3 coming this year, the Marvels coming this year. Next year we have Captain America New World Order, Thunderbolts, Blade, and then Deadpool 3, which we haven't really talked about. Also for the TV series this year we have Secret Invasion season 1, we have Loki season 2, which is coming this year, hopefully. Ironheart
Mhm.
season 1, Echo season 1, Agatha Coven of Chaos season 1, and that would wrap up 2023, but that's a whole lot. And then in
Can't
2024,
forget
I,
what you call it.
was that?
Oh no, you about to say it? You can
Well, I was
say
gonna say you got Daredevil coming in 2024.
that's it. That's
Yeah.
the one.
And we know that Daredevil was a part of like the Netflix Marvel Cinematic Universe
Mhm.
at first. You have your Daredevils, your Power Man or Luke Cage, if you want to call him that. And you have Jessica Jones and what's his name? Iron Fist.
Iron
Uh
Fist. Yep.
yeah, you and him too. But you had those people as almost like their own MCU inside the MCU. And
Hmm.
recently, not to spoil She-Hulk, but there is some crossover between that with the likes of Daredevil. And so he is officially part of the MCU proper now because of the
Hmm.
She-Hulk crossover. And we should be seeing Daredevil soon. Now the question is, do we see Daredevil between now and then? Maybe. I would hope so.
Yeah.
And I would love to see how some of these new characters that we've been introduced to in the last year or so come to play in the future as well. Thinking of Kamala Khan, who we know will be in the Marvels.
Hmm.
Of course, we talked about Daredevil, but She-Hulk as well. So we have a lot of players, and the stage is set for something big. But ultimately, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Gabe, again, a scale of 1 to 10, you say 7.3.
7.3, dude.
All right.
7.3.
Yeah, and I go with a solid 7.5. Like I said, not the worst Marvel thing I've seen, but definitely not like something I'm rushing back to see again. I could watch it again because the runtime was decent.
The
I
runtime was
appreciate
decent. Yes.
2 hours in and out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something you don't get from Marvel films anymore. But there's so much more to come. They didn't have to give it all to us at once because they have us hooked. We're here for the rest of our lives. So until then, hopefully Gabe and I can reunite to talk about some more Marvel films in the future. If he'll come back, to join us here on Silent Podcast, and maybe we can find some other stuff to talk about. Gabe, in the meantime, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me here. Could you tell the people where to find you? Do you have any plugs? Do you have any social media they can follow you at?
Oh yeah. Twitter at Good Grief Gabe. And then my Instagram is Love Night Synergy. Love Night Synergy, all one word. I do a little bit of photography. I'm currently working on
Mm.
my photo on my website. So if you want to check back and forth on my Instagram, look for a photography link. You can do that. But yeah, that's really where I'm at. Instagram and Twitter, right there.
All right, you see it there at the bottom of our screen on our banner. It says follow at Good Grief Gabe on Twitter. That's formerly Anti Lace Fronts for those who are familiar. If you know, you know. And then of course you can follow me as well on Twitter. That's Chappell at Chappell's underscore show. That's CHAPPELLS underscore show. And I will be tweeting out all the things that I have coming soon for y'all. And I have a lot that I've been working on. So give me like 5 minutes to do my plugs here. On post show recaps, I'll be covering season 6 of Snowfall with Mari and Latanya. So tune in to post show recaps, subscribe to our feed over there to keep up with the Snowfall updates for its final season. I'm also covering season 2 of Abbott Elementary with Gia Worthy every other week. So subscribe to Abbott Elementary, a post show recap to keep up with those podcasts. Season 2 of Bel Air is back. And so myself and my co-host Puya will be talking about that. Bel Air on Peacock will be on our podcast feed, Bel Air, a post show recap. So go subscribe, throw it some 5-star reviews, and tune in to this upcoming season of Bel Air. I'll also be joining Ariel on post show recaps. Ariel and I've already recorded our first podcast called Grey's Anatomy's Anatomy. And so we're going through the life and times of Ellen Pompeo's character Meredith Grey as she enters the second half of what is her last season as a series regular. So tune into that as we cover Grey's Anatomy season 19 and do some character studies on some of those characters that we know from Grey's Anatomy past. Also here on Silent Podcast, myself, 8 Ball Bangers, Isaiah, and Sasha, and I believe Tyrone Graham will be talking about Big Brother 6 soon. So we're going to go back in the past and talk about one of the best seasons, if not one of my favorite seasons of Big Brother 6 on Silent Podcast to join in and add to the Big Brother series that Isaiah has been hosting. And then on Rob Has a Podcast, I'm still talking about Netflix shows on my Nothing But Netflix podcast with my co-host Rob Sesternino. On our most recent episode, we were joined by Grace Leader to talk about the PGA tournament and review the first 2 episodes of the Netflix series Full Swing. The next episode should be over the Netflix movie We Have a Ghost starring Anthony Mackie. So be sure to subscribe to Nothing But Netflix too. Also on Rob Has a Podcast, there's been a wild season of Australian Survivor Heroes versus Villains, and Shannon Gates, who is the international Survivor expert, has invited me on to join her and Rob to talk about the most recent episodes this Thursday. I think we'll be doing it live on Instagram, so tune into that around 6 o'clock Eastern. And to wrap up Thursday, I'll be playing Jackbox games on the Rob Has a Podcast Twitch channel. So check out twitch.tv/RHAP on Thursday to watch some of the big personalities in the RHAP universe play games online. Finally, I just guessed it on the 90 Day Fiance The Other Way podcast with Puya, my co-host from Bel Air. And so that was a good time. We did I guess this is season 4 of The Other Way, but technically it's episode 3, y'all, of this season. So check that out as well. And then if you have a moment, it's just a project I've been working on. There's a guy on Instagram named Steve. Steve needs a kidney. His name is Steve _versus _ the world. And he would like a kidney transplant. He would like people to amplify his message. And so that's what I'm doing here. So if you have a chance and you have a spare kidney, or you know somebody who looks into causes like this, or maybe you just want to give like a monetary donation, that's completely up to you. I'm not saying you got to go give Steve some money, but go check out his Instagram page and see if you want to contribute to Steve versus the world and his cause, because he seems like a nice guy. And we want to make sure that if people need help and they reach out, then they can get that help. He reached out, and so here I am amplifying his message. So that being said, Gabe, this has been a blast. Again, y'all, check out at Good Grief Gabe on Twitter, at Chappell's _show on Twitter, and at Silent Podcast on Twitter to keep up with all these shenanigans. And until the next time we see you here to talk about Marvel movies, I'm Chappell, and this has been a great time. Peace out. See ya.